welcome to a new Harry's Garage. And this time you find us at Goodwood because I've come down to the 77 members meeting. This is the meeting that Duke Richmond introduced in 2014 to sort of kick off the season. We're in April. Last year it was earlier and there was snow and it was absolutely freezing. You probably know about the Festival of Speed as well and the Revival. Well, this is a smaller meeting with some great cars here. We've got the weather this time, and I thought it would be fun just to show you around, show you around the paddock, some of the guys I know are in the paddock, and why. I don't go to many motor racing events, but this one I just love coming down to Goodwood. You kick off with the car park. There's always spectacular cars right round Goodwood car parks. Well worth taking your time wandering before you go in. But anyway, we'll go off and you'll see us later, and I found something to see just as we go through the gate that's just amazing. No, let me in.
Thank you.
One thing you have to watch with this is timing. Well, we're 9:30 at the moment, so on track, what have we got? Race 4, Parnell Cup has just finished, Derek Bell Cup is next, and then the Sheen Trophy, the motorbikes at 10:20. The one thing I don't want to miss this morning are the special parade of the Porsche 917. Saw them yesterday, an amazing collection of 917s. I'll take you around there. But for all that, I just want to take you over here. Come have a look over here. Right, what I really want to show you is over here. Because we have XP5 here, the McLaren F1 and then the P1. Two stories of this car. I'm very lucky to have driven XP5 quite a while. I've done, I don't know, 100, 200 miles in this car up in North Wales. And the first time I got in it, it's my first proper drive in a McLaren F1, it was completely out of fuel. So the first 20 miles were like an economy run, barely using any revs, desperately trying to find a supply of super unleaded, which I eventually found in Betsy Coed. And then, because I was a little late, I could absolutely let rip. And one day I'll do a video on a McLaren F1, but still remains the pinnacle of the supercar for me because it's such a great time to develop this car. It's dominated by its engine. It has the best induction bark you've ever heard, and it's just such an event to drive. Then we come to the P1. Now this is the early P1. This did a lot of miles. I don't know how many miles they did in this, but this was tested out at the Nürburgring quite regularly, and they used to always drive it out there from Woking. So I'd like to find out how many miles it's got on, but it's a lot. This is the original one. It's a sort of fleck. It looks black. It's a slight purple colour. I had the pleasure, if that's what you could call it, of doing a lap of the Nürburgring with Chris Goodwin in this car, and it's one of my great regrets in Harry's Garage. I've never actually done the video. We were out there to set the Nürburgring lap time. I was what you might term the sack of spuds, sat in the passenger seat as Chris Goodwin did this lap around the Nürburgring. Crazy quick. I start the video as we go into the Nürburgring. I wasn't actually allowed to film on the Nürburgring, it was just the approach, and it was going to be a 6-minute something lap. I kicked myself because I never actually pressed my watch to see what actual time was, because as you probably know, McLaren never released the time. But I was there, I was in the car watching Chris Goodwin doing this crazy lap, watching him. He kept looking in these mirrors we were doing the lap, and at the end of that I said, what were you doing, looking in the mirror? No one's going to come past us. And there was 1 or 2 cars out there. He says, I was just checking the DRS had deployed before I pitched it into the corner. So that's what this sort of car is. I mean, it's a crazy thing. And I think it's one of those that has proved the test of the time as time's gone on, because it is a great performance car. It really delivers and a really exciting drive, and I love it for its turbo, on-off turbo sort of character with it. So there you go, there's the P1. There's all sorts here. There's a release of the Senna GTR here as well, to have a quick look at later. But what I really want to do is get you into the paddock, so let's go there now. Okay, that's McLaren. There's all sorts of things. Well, we haven't even got to the circuit yet, but if you do come to the members meeting, down there is the Bonham's auction distance. You keep on walking past there. There's all sorts of tempting trade stands that sort of kick off here as well. So much to do at these meetings. It's worth, if you can stay down here and have 2 days, it's well worth doing. I'm going to dive under the tunnel now. You can hear the grid just warming up. I'm going to disappear under the tunnel and he'll join us in the paddock in a moment. Okay, well, this doesn't look good. I don't want to see the mechanics around this one. This is a bit of a, with the 917s, this is the final edition of the 917 and I really don't like seeing this. It's about to do its demonstration run and there's mechanics swarming all over it. They're on a plug lead by the look of it. This is the quick one. This 91730 is the Ultimate Edition. It had twin turbos, and in race spec, this was 1580 horsepower. They tend to run at about 1100 horsepower from the flat 12. We're going to have a look at some more around the paddock, but I really wanted to see this one running. This is not what we want to see, because this is the most powerful 917 in existence. Who have we got in this one? Chris, it's you! Just let a bloody hooligan in there, I can't believe it. Dickie Atwood yesterday. I wouldn't let him in it. Oh. And another one, Can-Am car. I do like these ones, stripped down. Derek Bell was in that one yesterday. I really like this one, beautifully prepared, lots of history with this thing, and just not quite as crazy as the one that Andrew Frankel's in. Yeah, I think I could cope with that. It's Metcalf spec, that one. Vicky May!
Hey Harry, how are you?
Hello. You got a passenger seat on there?
You can hop in.
I've never had a go. What do I feel that? Educate me on 917s. Which variant is this one?
This is 91730.
Oh no!
So it's the chassis one. So it's the originator of this car. But if you look at it from the side, it's much shorter wheelbase, so it's more
right
to the red car down there. But it's similar power to that one.
Is it? What are they've
so
got it wound up to what?
1100
horsepower in how many kilos?
800-ish, is it, I think?
Right. Oh, 2 days of this then.
Well, I drove that yesterday.
But you're not doing it today?
Well, I thought it was this afternoon.
Oh, right.
Because we were all told it's this afternoon
Ah.
on the sheet.
Oh no.
I was doing the commentary on the last race.
Oh no.
So I didn't know, because I didn't go and see the guys. But anyway, the owner standing there said he'd like to drive it.
Perfect opportunity.
So I said, why not? The only thing is, I was worried because I didn't know he knew the track.
Right.
And he said, I mean, they're going quickly, although it's a bloody parade.
Are they? Were they?
Parade
Yeah.
behind a pace car. We were still, they limited us to 100, but we were flying at times, not the whole way round.
What sort of speed are you getting to on the back straight, do you think?
I took 10 years, so I was doing 161 laps.
Really?
But I was dropping back and then coming up through. And I told him I was putting 6.4, no, 5.6.
5.6 in top. Wow.
And he went, shit, that's really quick. Yeah, the long-tail original on the 69 car was just absolutely lethal.
Okay, this is the car I was just talking to Derek about. This is the original 917, the first one that came out. And this is where the aero all went a bit wrong. This wing wasn't really doing much. And it was very lively at speed. It was so fast. This is a flat 12. Basically, they joined two 911 engines together. It's a 2.25 to make the 4.5 litre to get this car. And around the 450 horsepower or something like that. And it was much quicker than they all expected. It was around 30 miles an hour quicker at Le Mans and had serious aero issues. Beautiful car though. When you look at the front and the purity and you go down the line, you just see how it developed. And then it started getting much more aero, the long tail. We'll go and have a look at the Golf one down there. But this is where it all started. Amazing to see it out here. Should also say one sold in 2017 for 14 million. So a very valuable lineup having these cars here. Thank you. Andrew, you're just about to drive this thing. This is the 91730 is my understanding.
Yes.
How much horsepower have you got in this little number?
Just the 1100 in standard racing trim.
Oh, they have.
And I haven't been told they've wound it down again. So
No.
that's what I'm banking
There
on.
you are.
In a car which I guess must weigh about 900 kilograms. So
It's astonishing that, isn't it?
I mean, these days of Veyrons and Chirons, you know, we are increasingly used to 4-figure power outputs.
Yes.
In a car weighing about the same as a Fiat Panda.
Yes.
That is, and a car that is whatever it is, 44, 45 years old.
Yeah.
It's just going to be not only a dream come true, but an experience beyond anything I've ever had in 30 plus years doing what I do.
Yeah, having just spoken to Derek, he was adding that he was in well into fifth, deep into fifth, round the back. Yeah. So it's quite a quick demonstration run. This.
Well, here's hoping.
Yes.
Hoping. Yeah. Vic Elford told me last night that you had to be careful when you change from third into fourth, which you do at 150 miles an hour, not to leave big black lines behind the car. When you
there's that much talk in
that
it.
much talk. So, I don't think we're going to be doing that today. But,
no, it's just wonderful to see
just fire it up to
Yeah.
say that you've driven it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from where I come from, it simply seems unimaginable, but apparently it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You're out in this. You've driven one before.
I've driven a 30 before,
Right.
but not this. This is a bit more, for me, it's a bit more daunting. It's earlier in development.
Yes.
And I obviously have the story of,
Yes.
of one of our fellow motoring journalists in my head with the gearbox. I just wanted to make sure that I don't
No, God, yes, that was one of these, wasn't it? Yeah, we won't mention that. But it normally aspirated, flat 12, sings its heart out, and so much history of this car.
They're gorgeous. So this has been driven by Rodriguez, Kinnunen, this one Daytona. They're amazing. But the lengths to which they went to save weight is alarming when you're sitting in it, because there's nothing that's remotely substantial, and your ankles are ahead of the front axle line. So your ankles, you look where the steering wheel is, relative to the wheel. So your ankles are down there in the front. So if you have a shunt in the paddock at 5 miles an hour, you break your legs.
Yes.
Genuinely.
Yes, it's a little bit Chapman-like there, isn't it? I heard, it's tubular
So it makes
frame.
Chapman look like a Volvo engineer, mate.
But it lasted 24 hours.
It did. It's mechanically robust.
Yeah.
And you speak to Richard Atwood about them, and and he'll tell you that if you look after the gearbox, then they would go.
Yeah. Oh, it's just lovely to see them. I can't believe the lineup here. And the value, 14 million, wasn't it? That one that sold
Well,
in.
I'm biased, but see the first car, the 01 car, is a piece of history.
Yeah.
The 91730 is a thug.
Yes.
This livery is the best livery ever on a 917.
Yeah, the
But
central
this is the
heating.
prettiest one.
This is the pretty one. This is, dare we call it iconic. This is the one with the Gulf colours. This is the one we all know.
So did you come down in your XJ12?
I did.
Coupe?
Yeah.
You like cadding about in that, don't
I
you?
do. Well, it's just gone historic car tax, and so it's free MOT. Don't have to MOT and sort of go on about the rust marks. Oh, it's all right. No, honestly, it's fine. It's structurally
Saves
sound.
the pennies,
Yeah.
spends the pounds.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
motto
it.
of the Metcalf life.
It is. It's got to be by. It's got to be by. Well, I've got. We worked it out. 8 cars now on historic. That's £2,500 saved, mate. No faffing around. No paperwork. I'm so
We could
disorganised.
never, when we were doing Evo, we couldn't get him to buy a bottle of wine at dinner. First out the taxi.
I always
last
get the
into
first
bar.
one. First bottle was the second bottle that was a bit of a squeeze, wasn't it? Yeah, that sort
You've
of
got
thing.
my helmet on, apparently.
Yeah, okay.
Lovely to
see you, Chris.
Keep up
See you
the good
later.
work.
Yeah,
And
we'll do.
subscribe to his channel.
That's some lineup. Oh, there's Dickie and Andrew Franco running in actual qualifying trim at 1580 horsepower. You've got to remember that was 1967 horsepower per tonne. The Veyron would have to have nearly 4,000 horsepower to match it. That's how powerful, that's the power to weight ratio that these cars have got. Here he goes. Real drops. This is it. Look at how long the gearing is. It's unreal on these cars. They've got the wrong gearing. Go on, Dickie. Get it on cam. That sounds ace. They're the two normally aspirated ones. That was the 917 demonstration. Really glad to see it. 50 years of 917 since those first cars lined up. Hope you enjoyed it. Now we'll get back to the paddock and see some other cars out there. Okay, it's probably my favourite class of cars racing here today at the members meeting is number 9, the Graham Hill Trophy. Now, this has the cars like AC Cobras, 275 GTB, Pizzanis, Lotus 26Rs and the Jaguars. First one here is a low drag coupe, really rare to see that here, beautifully original, etc. Then we've got the lightweight E-types here. If you come down here, Charlie, race us in. I mean, just the condition on this car is absolutely mega. Look at it, open trumpets, all aluminium. Just asking the owner of the low drag why this is the low drag. So this is one where they took a roadster and added this hard top to hopefully make it more streamlined. That was the plan. But it was sort of, they Jaguar built one and then the privateers took over. Because it's always struck me as odd, the lightweight E-Type originally was the roadster version. But the thinking was it had a lower windscreen and therefore had less frontal area. But they do actually run a hard top, as you can see here. Here's another one. This has a famous registration, but this is obviously the fixed head one aluminium car. Another beautiful lightweight E-Type over there as well. And another one. Well, they're everywhere. Now that red car's interesting as well. Let's go down and have a look at that. Super rare car here. This is the Ginetta G10. I've not seen one before, but basically it has the Ford GT40 engine in it. Absolute monster. Just over a ton or something. But this is what it's battling against. The Cobras here. Super famous lineup of Cobras. These are the cars to beat in this class. And you've got such a diverse class because you swing round, and then we have a Lotus 26R. Well, this is the 26R. Now, the 26R was the ultimate version of Lotus Elan built for racing. This you can sort of tell because they tend to have these on the Mark II 26R. It's a narrow-bodied one, 1598cc engine, around 160, 170 horsepower or something like that. Crazy light, like 550, 600 kilos or thereabouts, one of these. I used to race a little Lotus Elan, and what struck you, it has very good on little dainty wheels. As soon as you put big rubber like this, you have to get some stiffness in it. So really to get the stiffness, you had a great big roll cage. You can see the roll cage here. And a 26R, this actually is a hard top. It was a roadster, it's not a fixed top. But yeah, it's great to see these little cars battling out with the Cobras. And then we get to some other monsters here. TVR Griffith 400, so the V8 version on a 1965 B-Red, and this actually won last time here 2 years ago because it's every other year. Sunbeam Tiger as well with a fastback finish as well, again VN monster. And then we get to this one, Griffith. Oh what? Oh no! Yeah, no. This is the one. Yes, hello.
This is what you want in your garage.
Is it one of these? One of these? Do you know I haven't? I used to have a Griff. Maybe this is the one to do.
Yes, that you haven't got a proper car.
I know. I know. Well, now you've shown me how to.
Only has fancy Italian rubbish and
don't
not
listen to
a
this.
proper Blackpool TVR. He should be ashamed of it.
Yeah. And someone put this on poll. Was it you? Was it you?
Might have been.
It might have been. By 3,000.
I can't remember yesterday. That was yesterday. I can't remember that.
I know. You have to take care.
Yeah, Phil Keane as well.
I know.
3,000th
The second doesn't matter. I know. I can't wait for today. I can imagine they're over there shaving the sort of the cylinder heads and putting special fuel in it and stuff. Tell me what it's like to drive though.
Twitchy. It keeps you alive. Keeps you
awake.
It does.
Very awake. It does. Did you sleep well last night?
No. I had dreams twitching through everything.
Yeah.
You can't slide it gracefully. It doesn't like.
No. You like the Lister for that, don't you?
Yeah, Lister with a Jaguar engine because it hasn't got so much torque.
Right.
So everyone goes mad. All the modern journalists say, more torque. It's fantastic. It's not too much torque. What does torque do? Torque brakes traction.
It does. It does.
So if you open the throttle, like I've raced a Cobra here, and as soon as you open the throttle, it just breaks the traction, which is what this does.
Well, with you driving it, I found it very nice.
Lister does it progressively. So it's a different thing.
Yeah, good. What size engine is it? I don't know either. No, it's just big, isn't it? It's too big.
There are experts like Harry's Garage.
Yeah, I know. I'll check it. I'll watch it later, and he'll tell me.
I bet you know the stroke-bore ratio of your Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Don't
I can do that, and the little 26R, Lotus 26R, especially subject. But this, no, I don't know. It's just a scary thing, and it's great you put it on pole. I did enjoy it, I have to say, even though it was you. Anyway, see you later on. And you. Moving on. Thank you, little one. A little Shapecraft one. Now we have a Shapecraft Lotus Elan here. Charlie, you're going to have to come around the back here. All very different because it has this aluminium top on it here. So glass fibre body. There's 3 of these in the world. Unfortunately, this one launched its engine yesterday and it's not racing today, which I'm absolutely gutted for the owner because he only recently bought it and then discovered he had an entry into Goodwood and it didn't quite go according to plan. Be back next year, I'm sure. And then there's more 26Rs down here. Slightly wide flared arches on that one. There's another early one. and then we get to the 904. So these had the flat 6 engine. This sort of was the precursor to the 917. So this was made for endurance racing. It's a sort of Boxster layout. They put the engine in mid-engine position, super slippery. They actually got their speed to race against the big V8s we've just been looking at. They went narrow and super slippery to give them the top speed. 3 of them in a row. How often do you see that? And then finally, the other side, we have the Ferraris. And then we come down to the Ferraris. First of all, the 275 GTB-C, meaning it's the Competizione version, so the 6 carb. And then we get the Ferrari 250 GTO 64, the year it came out. Wonderful to see that here. 2 Bizzarinis. Now these are sort of coming up on the rails. A really successful racer in period. They American V8 shoved right back in the bulkhead. Sort of better handling they used to feel, and they're very competitive in an event like this. Look at it just carries on. Corvettes, Stingrays down here. Mustangs, always with the big V8 class here. And then we finish off with car number 1, the Aston Martin DP214. Such a pretty car, more streamlined. This is the idea of this one, to give it more speed. They give it this separate body, and really, really beautiful. Great to see it here. So, if you want to see this race, this is the Graham Hill Trophy. Look on YouTube. Good old Goodwood always put it up onto YouTube after the event. Graham Hill Trophy. It's always one of the most competitive races. 2-driver race. They have to come in the pits. Well worth a watch. Well, we're just in the paddock again. This is the John Duff race. This is race number 8, and it's for cars that raced before 1931. And we're in a bit of a Bentley corner down here. I love this one. This is a Bentley 4.5 litre supercharged, so you can see the supercharged at the front. This actually went into the tyre wall in qualifying. I sort of say poor tyre wall, but that's why it's slightly bent here, etc. But it's had a little bit of work, and it's back in the race, as you'd imagine. And 4.5 litre, 4-seat inside. When you look inside the dash of this, I don't know if you can just swing round, Charlie. I love this. This is how you see the lubrication is working. You have a sort of drip feed there. You can turn those, and you can up the lubrication to the engine if you want. Quite a big car. And we get to this one. Now, this car is down at the Classic Motor Hub. My son works at Classic Motor Hub, and they've got a number of cars here for this meeting at the moment. And Matthias we'll see it in a minute, he's racing it this time. It had an oil breathing issue yesterday, so they've hooked up an oil breather at the side. We're hoping that works, because it spilt a little bit of oil, which is not good. This is the 3-litre Bentley, so there's a shorter wheelbase, so the 2-seater engine on it as well. Just love these cars are still racing. Let's have a look. How old is this car? This car dates from 1926. Coming up for its 100th birthday, and here it is still competing. We come round here. Hi, Matthias. Good, thank you. What I love in here is the original little bucket seats. Even in those days, they have these. They're not the comfiest of seats, are they? No, you don't want to do big distance. Not the most sporty, no.
Original ones, for sure.
Yeah, they're good. And this is one you have to pump the fuel up as well.
That's right. Every a couple of pumps.
Do you want to come round here, Charlie, and just see what Matthias has to do? Is this thing, isn't it? So where do you monitor it on there? Do you?
It has to be on 2.
So. And when you're flat out, you can't get enough petrol without pumping it. God, too many things to think about. Yeah.
Here as well.
Oh, you do advance and
I have to advance it because it goes back, down.
Really, a lot of horsepower from that. Yeah. Well, what weather we've got though, isn't it great? It's like this. Like you were racing last year, weren't you, in the snow?
That's right.
Yeah, but not this time. Anyway, I'll see you later in the Bugatti. Good luck. Thanks, Matthias. Well, we've done those other paddocks over there. If you keep walking, go past the tunnel, and you're in another paddock here. I mean, that's the thing about Members Meeting in Goodwood, is just the variety of stuff. We've got bikes all up there, all the barbecues there, and all these single-seaters around here. These are the noisy ones. That's, I think, why they're put round there. Okay, we're going down this. We've got another race on, race 15, Peter Collins Trophy. Now, this one is a 20-minute race for sports cars racing of a type that raced before 1948 and 55. And there's obviously some C and D types in here. And there's a C-type here that is really dear to my heart, because back, we're trying to think when, it was about at least 10 years ago, I drove this car on the Mille Miglia. Come on over. Nigel, hope this is all right. Harry Metcalf, just want to talk about the C-Type and what it's done. Last time I drove this, we were on the Mille Miglia on a crazy trip. I think it's 10 years ago, but something like that.
Well, we certainly wouldn't argue about that.
Yeah.
I've campaigned it regularly in the Monaco Historic Grand Prix, which I once got a third.
Wow.
I campaigned in every Classic Le Mans.
Yeah.
And effectively, I think I got the Classic Le Mans, got a third. That's the best I've ever done for an old man. It's not bad.
No, that's more than good. And it's also, you've updated. It's got the disc brakes on this one, isn't it?
Well, it was optional. As you drove it with disc brakes as well.
Yeah.
Because it was a works car they never used, and then Duncan Hamilton, shall we say, acquired it.
Yes.
You know, he was the first guy to get a non-raced car out of the factory.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in '53, prior to winning the Le Mans, he went to Oporto and crashed it very royally into an electric pylon.
Right.
Hospital, no electricity in the hospital, and he never told them that it was him.
He actually took out the pylon.
He took out the pylon. And he had a wonderful history. He raced it himself up to about 55. And then he sold it on. Wow. He bought a lightweight for himself, pedalled this in, and
well, all I remember of the Mille Miglia was just magic. I mean, magic engine. A little bit cramped in there, I found it.
Very bloody cramped.
Yeah, it is really. Yeah, and the bits, it was just a glorious reliving the Mille Miglia. It was a bit hard work because it's a bit racy, wasn't it, for the road? This thing.
It's too much. Yeah, it's not wrong car for it.
No, we had to fit a clutch. I seem to remember in Rome, didn't we? Overnight,
yes,
poor guy. Well, we didn't, but the guys did.
The guys they did very well. We did it in the car park, wasn't it?
We did in the car park. We brought them some pizza. I seem to remember, didn't we?
It was very generous.
It was, wasn't it? And I also remember I sat on the back and I was mortified because I put a slight dent. It's very soft aluminium. This.
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Patina. That's all right. Well, and I also love the colour of it. It's really unusual.
Interesting. The true colour is correct,
right?
But it should be dull. 50s dull.
Oh, should it?
And when they showed it to me, I went, no.
It's been resprayed or so. Yeah.
And they said we could gloss it. So they glossed it. They glossed the paint.
Wow.
And that's what brought it to. It's very close to the Aston. But what's so interesting, you think about it. The first production car went to, famous Hamilton, and he asked not for BRG. He asked for a light green.
Did he? Yeah. Well, I think it looks stunning in this colour. Utterly. I mean, it's a beautiful car anyway, but in this colour, I think it's just my favourite. Yeah, Nigel, I've got to work down the line, but thanks ever so much. Have a great race.
Nice.
All right. Thank you. Right. Yeah. Which one do we look at next? Lovely Maserati. Just talking about this, really gentle. I think it's so beautiful. Hardly looks like a race car. Mourinho, can I? You're just about to get in and do racing things, aren't you? Hi. Are you all right just to have 10 seconds chat? You're all right if I poke a motorbike? Famous car, this, isn't it? Famous car, this. Yeah.
Lovely old thing.
It is. Did you know? Well, how do you get on driving it?
Well, it's actually, I've never driven it in the dry till yesterday. We had a bit of a motor issue. Hopefully we fixed it. I've done a few laps in the damp, but it's just lovely. 50s, early 60s sports cars are such a joy.
I've been lucky to take a D-Type up Goodwood Hill, and I have to say it was one of the most forgiving cars I've ever. It was just a delight.
That's incredible.
And it's
just, I had a model of it when I was 6 years old. So I've driven it on the road, but to actually race it is something else. So hopefully it runs for us here.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is probably fairly sorted now, isn't it?
Not this one.
Isn't it?
This is frozen in time.
Is it?
It's so original. Other people are running wider wheels. We're as it was.
This is
we don't mess with it. You can see from the paint.
I love the paint.
Yeah, and it's the same underneath.
Great.
It's safe, but it's very original.
Right, brilliant. Thanks, Marina. See you in a bit. It's a Thunderbird press with, well, I don't know, a Project 7 or something, or a D-Type. What? Is that what it's called?
It's called the Battle.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. This is the Battlebird rather than the Thunderbird. As you can see, it's a single-seater layout with a streamline behind the head of the driver. This is a really special car here, this Aston DB3S. What I can't get over about this car is it hasn't raced for about 30 years, and this is its race debut, if you like, here at Goodwood. He's a man who knows all about it. Car, it's really original, but it had an interesting early life, didn't it?
Well, it's one of 10 works DB3Ss.
Okay.
They were all chassis numbered DB3S 1 through to 10. This is DB3S 6, and this and 7 went to Le Mans initially in 1954 as coupes.
Right.
Neither car did very well. They both crashed out of the race, and the wrecks were taken back to the factory. Effectively, they were scrapped. And 2 new cars were made under the same numbers, and they went back to Le Mans again. And this car came second at Le Mans.
Unreal.
Then it had another crash. It was raced in period by all the greats: Sterling Moss, Peter Collins, Roy Salvadori. Then it was rebodied again, sold, and went back to Le Mans and came second again. So it came second at Le Mans twice. Yeah, quite a...
What a history, what a history.
And they have the open headlights.
Okay.
And this sort of scallop cut out here. This was the latest configuration.
Right.
So slightly different windscreen and a different frontal treatment.
I love the colours on it, and the yellow
Wonderful,
lips and things on the wheel.
This is as it finished Le Mans in 57.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And this hasn't been on a racetrack, I was saying, for, we think, how
I
long?
don't think this has been on a racetrack for 20 years. The last, I would say it's maybe 20 years since this car has appeared, and actually it's very rare that you see a works DB3S being raced today. Very, very rare.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Martin. That's great.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, there you go. There's a little bit of history with these cars there. There's always a backstory of these cars. That's why I just love seeing them down here, and we're so lucky to have Goodwood. Well, there you go. That was the members' meeting 77. Quite an extraordinary day, and catching up with everyone. Really enjoyed it, and walking around the paddock and just some of the cars on show. Fantastic racing to catch up on YouTube. Have a look at the mini race as well. There was 60 minis flying around, huge grid, a really close race. And if you come into Goodwood, I thought I'd just give you a guide. So it's really easy just to stay in this area. This is where we've been. We've been in the paddocks here and the sort of collection area as well. But it's well worth exploring. I could have gone further down here. The Bonham auction was held today. I didn't have a chance here. There's lots of shopping around this area. You wander around here. Now, this is a really good corner to watch. It's very easy, very close. Go on the bank in there and watch them come through Woodcote. It's a double apex. You think you got that one and you fly into this one, and the quick boys would just be using a rather lot of curb there. And then you really want to get just behind there is a tractor symbol there. Get on a train, and there's this inside track here, and take your way up the Lavant Straight to the Lavant Corner. It's my favourite corner on the track. It's double apex. This is slow, and then you power out, and you'll see the really quick guys drifting around there. Great place to watch. And once you've done that, then you can take another truck to drive, and you go down to St Mary's. Quite often people are falling off St Mary's, so that's a good one to do. Come down. This one, Ford Water, this is a corner no one realises when you go on a track day and suddenly you have this kink and you've booted out of there. That's really quick. Generally there's not incidents there, but it's a bit of an overtaking spot. That's a good one. But again, the second best corner, Madgwick, just where's the tractor stop there? Just come round here, and it's a double apex, and it's a lovely drift round there. So that's well worth doing. Hope that gives you more idea of what the members meeting. The revival's just the same. It's just a bigger event. It's more crowded. The revival. There's more varied cars as well. If you can do anything to spend 2 days here, it's the way to do it. I'm lucky to have gone all sorts of motor events around the world, but for me, Goodwood, the way it's done is absolutely top. I think it's glorious racing. Interesting that the cars, you have to be invited to race here. And to make it not the same, next year's programme will have completely different races in there with different cars, and then you'll come back in 2 years' time, maybe see some of the cars you saw this year. So they always mix it up and introduce new, like the 917s this year and that sort of thing. Well worth doing. Hope you enjoyed this sort of guided tour to the members meeting 2019 at Goodwood. If you have, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming along very soon.